The formula for happiness I have to give you. Acceptance plus independence is equal to happiness. The more I learn to accept myself as I am, things as they are, and of course I can work on it and improve, but I drop my insistence. So the more I accept and more I become independent, I don't depend on anything else for my happiness. I anchor within, more I will be happy. And so that is what surrender will bring. It will help us to drop all dependencies and make us independent and realize happiness.
Thank you for that formula on happiness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of our podcast series, Happiness Hour. I would like to welcome today and Hariom Swami Swatmananda from Chinmaya Mission. He has been my guru. It was under his teachings and tutelage that I started even delving into the spiritual world. Now, when we talk of surrender, a lot of people confuse it with just letting go, not doing things, procrastination, indifference. They feel, again, a lot of myths or fears come in the way. How I have to keep trying. How can I just... So could you just share a little more? What truly does surrender mean for people?
So, why should I surrender first? That I have to understand. And what should I surrender? Then to whom to surrender? That's important. So, why should I surrender? Because when I have ego, the stronger the ego is, the lesser my potential will manifest. The lesser my ego is, greater my potential will manifest. And no ego, full potential will manifest. Now you look at any, let us say, a great musician. That musician has surrendered one's likes, dislikes, insistence and all that, and committed oneself fully to music. And when the person, let us say, Pandit Jasraj or Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, when they were singing or playing the sitar, they are so absorbed in that music. And when one is absorbed in that music, one has forgotten oneself. The best music comes out only then. I read somewhere very nicely that a poem requires the emptiness of a paper. A scenery requires emptiness of a window. Music requires emptiness of a flute. Happiness requires emptiness of the self. So if I empty myself, the ego, if I surrender, happiness is here and now. So what has to be surrendered is only my insistence. So my second formula for today is a sure short formula for sorrow. You can apply it. If it does not work, money back guarantee. What is the...
You are getting commercial as well.
Correct. But I'm not taking any money, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So the point is, if people want that, guarantee they want, how it will work, which we have applied also in life. Actually, nobody has to tell us. We already applied it. Insistence plus resistance is equal to sorrow. The more I insist, this has to be like this person should behave like this, and this situation should be like this. And if something else comes to me, I resist. No, I don't want this. It's not acceptable. That insistence and resistance creates all sorrow. When we say surrender, we are only dropping our insistence and resistance and becoming more accepting of what life is to bring to us. Also, it is to drop my specific ways of doing things. People have that such rigidity in doing things also. One is in accepting results, other is in doing things, either my way or highway. There are many other possible methods to achieve a certain goal. Why are you stuck only with your particular way? But these two, insistence in action, insistence in the result, they create trouble. So both these are born from ego, and that is all we have to surrender. Now, the moment I surrender insistence and resistance, my mind is so free, I can explore 100 ways to do one same thing. So surrender is not escaping from duty. Surrender is not letting go of proactivity. Surrender is not that I should not be dynamic. What have you done? I have just surrendered. Now what do you do? Nothing. Now God will do everything. I don't have to do anything. People come to the Guru also and they say, "Oh Guru, I surrendered to you. Now you give me moksha." Gurudev used to say that I am not a mule Guru. I am not going to carry you on my back to moksha. I can give you knowledge. You lift yourself by yourself and walk. Surrender means I have dropped my insistence. I have dropped my resistance. See, Arjun surrendered to Bhagavan Krishna. What did he drop? He dropped his insistence that I will not fight the war. He became open to understanding what knowledge Bhagavan gave, and through that he came to realize that what he was feeling was escapism, was not true surrender or duty. So he came to understand very clearly difference between escapism and surrender. And deeper things he came to understand about his own self, about life, about Swadharma, many things he came to understand. And finally, what did Bhagavan Krishna do? Did Krishna Bhagavan say that 3 hours I've given you this knowledge, now you better fight the war? Did he have insistence? No. Bhagavan said, you are free to do what you want. I have given you the knowledge. And what did Arjun say? I shall do what you have instructed. Karishye vachanam tava. So when Arjun surrendered his ego, his insistence, his resistance, from a dejected, despondent, depressed person, he became a dynamic man of action. Surrender brought him to dynamism and brought him out of depression, brought him out of that despair, made him dynamic, made him do his duty, and he went and won the war. That is what surrender will do to us. So the formula.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I'll just end with this formula. Is this the formula for happiness I have to give you, because formula for sorrow I already gave. That is not fair if I leave you with formula for sorrow only. Our goal is happiness, right? So acceptance plus independence is equal to happiness. The more I learn to accept myself as I am, things as they are, and of course I can work on it and improve, but I drop my insistence. So the more I accept and more I become independent, I don't depend on anything else for my happiness. I anchor within, more I will be happy. And so that is what surrender will bring. It will help us to drop all dependencies and make us independent and realize happiness.
Thank you for that formula on happiness. So when we talk about independence, you're talking really about independence within. And yeah. I have come across many people, leaders especially, who believe that independence is more about doing things on your own, saying whatever you feel and think is right. So authenticity gets confused with just saying and doing everything and being this superhero. And they even, you can see they're not being authentic, but there's so many myths around this whole word independence. Yeah. If you could just share a little of, light on that.
See, Vedanta is very clear. It says that independence by itself, as a person, as an individual, if I feel, like you said, I have to do it by myself in my way and I don't need anybody's help, or I can speak whatever I want, that is true freedom. So Vedanta says that independence is actually not independence, where one is actually a dependent person on one's own ideas. One is so insistent on one way of thinking and being. Interdependence only is the truth. Nobody can be just independent all by oneself. I have to be interdependent. There are people, even for me to exist, the entire to function, for me to be existing and even breathing the air that I'm breathing and talking. So what true independence are we talking about in that sense, where one arrogates oneself that, because of me things happen, without me it will not happen. That is not true independence. That's a strong sense of doership, and that is what brings a lot of stress. Independence is where psychologically I don't depend on certain things for my happiness, and I'm more flexible. What I can do in my capacity, I do, but I do it in self-mastery. That is called independence, where I don't I am not a victim of my own thoughts, patterns, beliefs, and I'm open to receiving ideas, suggestions, flexible in my way of thinking, changing a certain course of action. That is true independence. It is not that one has to put on a false show, like you said, one tries to put up, become like a hero and do some great things and has lost the authenticity. The very fact that one has lost one's authentic self means one is dependent on a certain image that one wants to project about oneself. Where is independence in that? True independence comes when I am unabashed, not unabashed. We say that when I am unapologetic about who I am as I am, and if there is a flaw in me, I will change it. If there is something that I have to learn, I will keep learning. But I am not putting a false mask. I'm not trying to project a false image because that will not last. And so much effort goes in projecting and keeping up an image. You know, to be the authentic self is so natural, spontaneous. There is no pressure at all. If I have to put an image continuously, I have to remember what is that image, what I have told to which people. Memory power also has to be increased tremendously.
For all the wrong things.
For all the wrong things, and what am I trying to achieve through that? And finally, people will see through it.
Yeah.
How much can one keep a false image on? So, Vedanta says, be who you are, be yourself, know thyself, and in that one will find tremendous sense of happiness. And all of us have tremendous goodness. It is just that we have not tapped into ourselves, so we compare with somebody else and then we feel that is great, so I want to become like that, and then I want to project myself in that way. Vedanta says you anchor in your strengths. So I always tell people, strengthen your strengths and weaken your weaknesses. That's a mantra that we should have. We do exactly opposite. We strengthen our weakness and weaken our strength.
So true.
So we have not turned within. We have not identified management what they have. No SWOT analysis. We can do SWOT analysis for our company, for our products, but we have to do for ourselves. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? And what are my threats? Because many times they are not real threats. These are imagined threats. So if I do this, look within, find out who am I truly as a person, what are my qualities, what are my values, what are the things that I should not compromise and they are very dear to me, then I am able to be my authentic self. That person is a true leader. Leadership is first leading oneself, not leading other people. If I lead myself well, and how will I lead myself well? If I understand myself, in Vedanta we call it as yoga. Align the body, mind, intellect. So everybody has to do this MBA, mind body alignment. Whether you do a MBA from any management institute or not is a different thing, but this mind body alignment has to happen.
Yeah.
What I think, what I feel, what I speak, how I act, that has to be authentic. And with authenticity comes true success and happiness. It's a wrong notion to think that if I am authentic, then I cannot be successful. That's a very wrong notion.
True, because you're carrying the burden of trying to be fake all the time, which is even harder.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have clearly, changed the whole paradigm of education with firstly changing the whole definition of MBA and what education we need rather than what education we blindly go for. Once again, also in a world bombarded by social media, where celebrity images and all kinds of images are thrown in your face, whether it's about leaders, whether it's about successful personalities. What tips or guidance would you give to youth or even other people listening as to how can they moment to moment or remember to turn within and anchor within and actually focus on their happiness and well-being rather than the dependency on the world?
See, I would say that who you are as a person should matter more than what you are perceived as. If I can focus on that who am I as a person, and as a person, am I truly growing from within? Externality is a manifestation of what is inside. That much we have to understand. Today we are so there management has two approaches, right? One is outside in approach, other is inside out approach. So outside in approach is you try to change the externality and you have better comfort, better luxuries, better amenities, and better appearances, and whatever, you take a photograph and photoshop it and put your best self out there, and many of those things will happen. That has a limited applicability and even limited impact, truly. In the long run, what matters is the inside out approach. How inspired are you from within? How purpose driven your life is? What is the vision that you have? How empathetic are you towards people? How much is anchoring within, where you are able to spend some time experiencing a quite few moments at the end of the day when one sleeps? Is one feeling happy? When one looks into the mirror, is one able to smile and say, this is who I am? If all this matters more to me, and if I understand this very clearly, then that is what I will even express outside. And whether it is social media or any gathering or whatever image I want is being put out there, is my authentic self, because I'm very comfortable with it. We are not comfortable with ourselves because of certain conditionings either we have or we have been brought up with. If the mind is not beautiful, externally I can do any amount of beautification. In few seconds, the moment people connect to us, they will know who we are. That's why it is said, people look very wise and bright till they open their mouth. That's it. It's just a matter. In 2 sentences, the one will know that this is where the person is standing. This is where the person is. So it's very important to focus on the self within, that who am I as a person, and which is why some time one has to spend in a day or over a week where one has introspected. Introspection is a very powerful exercise. One introspects about oneself, one's life, one's vision, tries to deepen that. Everything else will follow from there. If you think about any great successful achiever also, genuine, authentically who is successful, would have anchored within, would have anchored in the sense within, where one would have turned within and challenged one's set of belief systems, patterns, broken the inhibitions, conditionings one has, pushed oneself to the levels of performances that are required. Why? Because one is inspired from within. If one is not inspired, one will not be able to do. One can put on some fake levels of motivation, whether it is some money or whether it is some glory or fame. That doesn't last longer. What will last longer is I am truly inspired from within, that this is what I want to do with my life. This is the field I want to be. This is the person I want to be. Now that we have to turn within and introspect, think, discover who we are. That is the key to happiness. Then social media, etc., it's actually a reflection of the society. Now, why should the society's reflection condition me? Who I am as an individual, if I put out properly, that is how societies are made. If individuals put out their lives together and share, it is meant to share who I am, not meant to change perceptions, right? And put a false self out there. And that's why today there's so much of trust deficit. People don't know whom are they interacting with.
Yeah, everything is created. Many things are. So as we close this today conversation, one nugget that you think you would like to share or say, which would really land or would make a difference to that, happiness quotient. Let's look at it that way.
So many times I gave this formula. It is called T20.
Okay.
T20, popular format of cricket also, but it's a memory aid. It means 3 times 20, 20, 20, 20. Exercise 20 minutes in a day. meditate 20 minutes in a day, and study 20 minutes in a day. If I can do this on a daily basis, this will align my body, mind, intellect. Some form of exercise, whether it is yoga or Zumba or aerobics or strength training or whatever it is. Body has to be kept fit to serve, to live a life of purpose, not just for some beauty or handsomeness. Second, meditate. Learn any methods of meditation. There are so many beautiful ways to meditate, whether it's a mantra, whether it is a form, whether it is focusing on the breath, witness attitude, chakra, kundalini. There are hundreds of ways to meditate. But find a way which will anchor your emotion, because it's not a mechanical method of just using some technique to make the thoughts lesser. It is absorbing my emotion. So find a beautiful way which will resonate with you, which will make the mind quieter, which you sit quietly and do. Don't say, I am doing walking meditation, talking meditation, and eating meditation. Sit quietly, turn the attention within, let the senses be closed, withdraw, and focus on one thought or one practice, one form, whatever it may be. Meditate 20 minutes in a day. And study for 20 minutes some spiritual literature, some self-help books, which will make you understand more about yourself, who you are as a person, what are the strengths, weaknesses, what is this world, who is the creator, what is the connection of all these three. So the deeper knowledge we have about our personality and about the reality and about this creation, the stronger we will be. Knowledge is a great source of strength, and it will help us to align ourselves and also help us to live harmoniously with the world. So 20 minutes of study every day. If I can't do 1 hour per day, let me balance it. 5 days a week I do exercise, 4 days a week I study, another 3 days I'm able to do some kind of meditation, whichever way. But if I apply this T20, that attention we require to grow as individuals in a holistic way will come about. And this is simplest way to practice spirituality, where knowledge is there, meditation is there, some exercises are there. And then if I feel inspired, I should go out and serve. I should share this with others, try and empower lives of people, make their lives better, maybe through social service, maybe through sharing spiritual knowledge, maybe through my own profession, through whichever way, having the service attitude. So this will help a lot, and that's what I think. If each day we could practice T20, we can be happy.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for your formulas and your knowledge. This has been very helpful, and I'm sure, and I really hope it reaches more and more people and they are able to hear your formulas for happiness. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much. It was very nice to be here and share all this with you.
Thank you.